quite ambitious. I mean, it's certainly conceivable that testing could get to that level, but not that I've seen. We have seen 99%, but not 6, 5 nines and the 7, or whatever, 4 nines and the 7, whatever it would be. So you do need to ensure realism. Now, somebody reacted to those two statements that were made in the my reply to them and said, well, yeah, but not everything that matters can be measured. And, is there some risk that you're going to go off and be so focused on these few metrics that that there are many other dimensions that you're not looking at, and that is definitely true. There's that. What gets measured gets done, and the flip side of that is then what's not getting measured is not getting done, and that is a potential problem. So you do need to, if you're going to go through a metrics program, you need to think about unintended side effects, unintended consequences. I want to point out here, as I did in the afternoon session, that I am talking about process metrics. I am not talking about metrics for evaluation of individual performance or for assigning bonuses or raises or anything like that. That's a whole separate topic, which I would be certainly happy to do a webinar on at some point about evaluating people and doing that in a way that's fair. But that's not what we've been talking about here. None of the metrics that I've been talking about here, none of this process as a whole, none of this has to do with individual evaluation. It all has to do with evaluation of a process. All right, I got a question from my my longtime friend Jeff Horn. Jeff, good to see you on the call. Are you aware of any commercial products that can capture and report on these types of metrics? Well, it's pretty splintered. I mean, you've got various kinds of test management tools and bug tracking tools and test case development and management tools, et cetera, et cetera. And all of them, have a piece of this puzzle, but very few of them actually have what I would consider to be a mature test process dashboard in them. Some of them have test project dashboards. In other words, some collection of metrics and graphs that they will present for the work being done on a project. But notice that that's not what I've been looking at here. What I've been talking about here, these are process metrics. How well is the test process working? So this has tended to be kind of out of the limelight, if you will. I mean, even the test project dashboards that you find in most test management tools. No offense to anybody with HP/Mercury on the phone now, I've not been particularly impressed. Most of them seem to be able to turn out metrics that are useful for the test manager's internal use in managing the testing effort internally within the test team. But as far as reporting project progress in a way that actually communicates effectively to people outside the test team, most of them don't do that very well, and they certainly don't have a lot of built-in support for test process metrics. So, if there is anybody from HP or Mercury on the call, and you would be happy to work with me to find some of this stuff, give me a yell or give me an email, and we can look at that. I mean, I think there is a need for commercial tools to help make this test process dashboarding a little easier, but I just don't think it's out there yet. So I mean, when we do assessments, let me just put it this way: when we do assessments and metrics programs, we go in. It's not a matter of just sitting down and tweaking somebody's existing tools to spit out the metrics. I mean, we do, for example, help clients get set up to use Quality Center. That's one of the things that we do, and yeah, that's just a matter of going in and tweaking it and setting it up. Most of the time it's like, well, we want to manage these test cases, we want to look at traceability stuff. That's all in there, but when you start talking about, well, I want to talk about regression risk coverage, and I want to talk about regression test automation, and I want to talk about the duration savings associated with automation. That's the point where we go, that's just not in there. So it's a good question, Jeff. I think it is an opportunity for the test tool vendors out there. Now, is it the biggest opportunity to test tool vendors? No. The biggest opportunity to test tool vendors really is data anonymization on large-scale testing databases in a way that does not break referential integrity when you go across disparate databases that have related data. And in fact, that's an important enough topic that I believe I'm going to do a webinar on that later this year, because this is something I really think that we as a profession need to start pushing the tool vendors into helping us on, because I have a lot of clients that are really struggling with that. Let's see. Oh, and then here's a question on can I grab a copy of the slides? Yeah, the slide, as I mentioned at the beginning, which was the part that Jeff missed. As I mentioned at the beginning, the slides are out there on the website. Now I can never remember whether it's the articles page or the basic library. It's one of the two, and you know, feel free to pull them down and take a look at them. And also, you know, remember that these are recorded. These webinars are recorded, and they're posted. There's the WMB version, which you can actually watch the presentation and listen to it at the same time. And we post a podcast version of this as well, an MP3 version, and that's on our digital library, both the Windows Media video of the presentation and the MP3. And the MP3 also gets posted, I believe, to, pretty sure this is the case, iTunes. So, you know, you can listen to it, or have other people can listen to it on their iPod. Now, this presentation is, I think, really good for that, because it's not very much graphics driven. Yeah, let's see. Another question that came up earlier. If we are achieving our objectives effectively and efficiently, why do we care about elegance? I kind of answered this during the presentation, but let me come back to this a little bit. Work can be done properly, but done in a way that frustrates or irritates people, and that can create some pretty bad results. The most extreme example of this that I remember seeing was in an assessment with a fairly large and fairly important organization. They were doing testing, and their testing was effective and efficient. We measured it, looked at the metrics, like, yep, that's pretty good. And in fact, their quality program as a whole was pretty good, and their quality as a whole was decent. You know, they made some mistakes, but you know, they were pretty good. Problem was that the testers and the developers the testers really, and everybody hated the testers, and the testers hated everybody, just hated them. Testers thought that everybody else was just, you know, incredibly lazy and unmotivated, and if it weren't for the testers, nothing would get done properly at all. Whereas everybody else looked at the testers, the testers, they had no value, they're a complete waste of time and energy and oxygen, you know, they just need to get rid of them. There's just incredible animosity.